What up guys? So today we have another what if breakdown. Today I'll be talking about the what if called the ultimate android from Dragonball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 1. If you want to see my other what if breakdowns or the what if itself, the link will be in the description below. So in the summary of the what if, it explains that Dr. Gero did manage to kill Goku, and more than likely they're referring to how Cell decided to blow himself up and how in the anime that took down Goku. But I guess in this scenario, Cell actually beat everyone, and instead of destroying the Earth, he probably left the Earth and destroyed other things because the Earth is still here in this what if. Or maybe Cell just stayed, basically just terrorizing the Earth, kind of like how the androids did in Future Trunks' timeline, but not ending the world for some reason. Now this brings a plot hole though, because after the fight with Cell, they wished back all the people who were killed by Cell to come back to life, and so that would include Android 17, which is normal, that's what happened, but in this scenario, Cell survived, so the Z Warriors weren't able to do that. So what I think happened was probably Dr. Mew and Dr. Gero created two Android 17s in Hell, and then had them leave Hell so they could fuse and fight Super Perfect Cell. Which again doesn't really make sense why that would happen if Goku did die, but then the dialogue actually happens between Super Android 17 and Super Perfect Cell, and they're talking about how they're still planning to beat Goku basically. So what happened? Like, how did Goku come back to life? What happened in this timeline? I want to know more. So maybe at this point in time is when Goku actually got his day to come back to the Earth instead of in the Buu Saga, because in this timeline that probably didn't happen because everyone else was wiped out because Cell wouldn't allow them to live, more than likely. And before Cell and Goku actually fight, Cell runs into Super Android 17, and maybe Dr. Gero created Super Android 17 to make sure that they kill Goku. I don't know, a lot of it's kind of weird. And would it make sense that the doctors created Super Android 13 in a day basically, because that's how much time Goku would have to come back to Earth? Or was it the entire time that they were in Hell, they were conducting their research to create this android for the simple purpose just to create the perfect android basically, not knowing that Goku would actually come back, and then Goku does end up coming back and that's why they sent him to Hell? There's a lot of questions unanswered, but yeah, that's basically what I think. But then here's another thing too, how would Dr. Mew have died? Would it have been Baby who killed him? But then none of that stuff with Baby is actually explained here either, so it's like super confusing. Also, it could be that since Dr. Gero died a lot earlier before Cell actually died, maybe he didn't know that Cell actually took down Goku, and in the grave he was basically creating the new android to make sure Goku dies, and that actually makes a lot more sense to me. But again, I still need the timeline. I don't know where this is placed exactly. This could be literally right after the Cell games, maybe like a day or something, and that's why Cell's like starting to terrorize the Earth instead of blowing it up immediately. And this what if is like, what if Dr. Gero decided to create another android while in Hell, which he didn't do in the normal timeline. And so I like the interaction between the two androids, because the normal Android 17 that we know that fought Piccolo, he was very prideful of himself. He basically didn't want to leave the fight with Imperfect Cell and himself because he thought he was the ultimate android already, so he didn't want to leave, because in his mind he was stronger and his pride wouldn't let him leave. So I like the fact that Super Android 17 is explaining to Super Perfect Cell that he is the strongest of the two, and he's going to be the one who's going to kill Goku. And then Cell too, with his cells from Vegeta and stuff, he's saying, what, you can't do anything to me, you were originally part of me. And he's talking about the original 17, not Super 17. And basically each of their prides create this fight, which is really cool. And power-wise, I don't think that Super Perfect Cell got himself as strong as Super Android 17 was in GT. It makes sense that he's still as strong as he was in the anime before the Buu Saga and GT and all that stuff happened. He's still around that strength. And I think Super Android 17 is also at that strength. Or actually, Super Android 17 should be weaker because in this scenario, you're supposed to win as Cell. And that's basically what happens. Cell beats Super 17, and Super 17 says that he lost basically because the other 17 isn't there anymore. It doesn't really explain why. I was thinking maybe they could be referring to the fact that one of the 17s was created in Hell, so maybe he wasn't alive ever, and then the other one was alive, and then Cell killed one of them while they were together basically. And that's what made the remaining 17 a lot weaker, but it wasn't explained again, so it's really hard. It's really hard to figure out what they were trying to go for here. And so to sum up what I think happened, I think Dr. Gero created Super 17 to make sure they kill Goku, but in this scenario, Cell has already gotten rid of Goku and the rest of the Z Warriors, and is now just terrorizing the Earth. Comes across Super Android 17 and beats Super Android 17, and then Cell's basically free to do whatever he wants now. There's no one stronger than him on Earth except for Boo, which won't be hatched because the energy won't be gathered like it would have in the regular timeline. Unless they write in that Cell destroys the Earth and that hatches Boo, but he'll be significantly weaker than what he was in the Boo saga. And that's also another thing that isn't really continued on in this scenario, so we don't know what will happen next. But yeah, that's basically it for this what if. If you guys want, you guys can check out my other what ifs in the description below. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Peace.